What is up, my fellow kamikaze pilots? Is it Kino with the rocket new Godzilla film that's sweeping the nation. I am Simian Jimmy, joined as always by the Kino Corner.
What's up, guys? We're talking about Godzilla today. I like to just say that I think that this movie, you should watch it immediately after watching Oppenheimer.
Good double feature. We've also got E. Rich McCoy.
Yeah, I think if you credit the creation of Godzilla directly by J. Robert Oppenheimer, then I think it was worth what he did. I think getting that and manga and anime and all that stuff, that was definitely worth nuking all those people.
He made manga? You got to think about the economy of it. How much money has Japan made from Godzilla?
The nuclear bomb was a philosopher's stone, just like Full Metal Alchemist. Equivalent exchange to give me One Piece. I think it was fair. We've also got Florian Himsel.
Hey everybody, I brought my own Godzilla expert with me. Here's the Purple Colonel.
Hello, I'm here too. I don't know.
Wow, a special guest on Is It Kino. I thought we scared everybody away, Florian. How'd you find somebody willing to come on this show?
I don't know, he told me he kept watching it. Who still watches this podcast?
Very few people.
Yeah.
No, I'm a frequent viewer, and
wow.
I guess first time on, so I'm pretty excited.
Well, I want you and Florian to debate this Godzilla feature, because if you're the Godzilla guy and Florian loves pissing people off with his edgy opinions... Florian, why did you hate this Godzilla film that, as somebody who has seen maybe 4 Godzilla movies, I'm convinced this is the best one ever made?
I mean, this is probably the best one, and I think it's so mediocre. Like 70 years led up to this, and it's so fucking cocked. Like the finale is so stupid. Oh, we're gonna throw we're gonna throw carbon monoxide at him. That'll fucking drown him. A sea creature. We're gonna drown a sea creature. Oh, big.
It was a change in pressure.
Yeah,
they
I know.
explain this. There's a whole like 10-20 minute scene dedicated to explaining this plan.
Yeah, it was stupid. It didn't need to be in the movie, and it didn't work. Like, why? I want my time back. But
their plan to kill Godzilla, a monster they don't understand, but their like Hail Mary plan didn't work. Oh, okay.
So the movie was a waste of time.
It was so stupid. You're not gonna sink an object of the size of Godzilla by putting carbon on it. It doesn't make any sense.
They did.
No, you can't.
Sunk.
It didn't make sense,
to the bottom
though.
of the ocean.
It's kind of a play. I saw it as being kind of a play on the original way that they kill Godzilla in the first Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
Where they have like this
spoilers
weapon of mass where they have this weapon of mass destruction that does something kind of similar, and
the oxygen destroyer.
The oxygen destroyer. Yeah.
Wow.
And that
kills. Amazing.
Yeah. They don't explain how the oxygen destroyer really works. It kind of just turns people to bones, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah, that would have been preferable. If they had something that wasn't explained, that would have been better than what they did, okay? Like, it was so stupid. Oh, the surface tension is gone. Yeah, imagine if you remove surface tension from a ship. You think it'll sink? No! Like, it's not going to sink because of surface tension.
Florian. This is a movie about a giant lizard that tries to destroy cities.
Then don't explain it if it doesn't make sense.
It literally cannot exist because
don't give me the explanation if the explanation isn't going to make sense, okay? Is that so much to ask for?
It doesn't.
The fun of the movie is having
our time.
They're trying to use science to defeat a supernatural entity. Like, that's kind of the fun.
I mean, I didn't know that we had an Austrian Neil deGrasse Tyson in this chat right now.
Well, actually...
Well, do you think you can just spray gas on a creature and it'll sink? Like...
Yeah.
No.
I don't know how Freon works. Sure,
Doesn't make sense. Like, he showed it sinking a piece of wood because of the surface tension, and it didn't work on the big... Whatever. I'm over it, okay? I just think this is... a medium movie. I think, like, watch any Marvel movie, you'll have a better time. Watch any Western Godzilla, you'll have a better time. Okay.
Take of the year. The take of the year.
God, no.
I know. Everyone loves this movie.
Okay. Florian's best take so far. Watch any Marvel movie and you'll have a good time.
God.
For a good time, call The Marvels.
Well, Florian, let's dissect the underlying issue here, which I think is your distaste for the Japanese. I think you're jealous that they're better at making video games than you. You're mad that they teamed up with the Austrians in the 1940s. Like, is that why you have a problem with this movie? Is because it's celebrating people who were ultimately allied with Nazis.
You didn't even have a Pearl Harbor to get pissed about, Florian.
In his review, he was pissed about Pearl Harbor anyway. And he said that they were allied with Nazis, so Godzilla should kill them all.
Look, I am pissed that they fucking milked this goddamn nuclear bomb for 70 fucking years, and the best they have to show for it is this stupid ass movie, okay? I can't believe that they are playing the fucking victim after they've allied themselves with the Nazis, okay?
Well, Florian, I let me ask you a question. How long is America going to be milking 9/11?
Yeah, true.
Well, I
Hopefully
haven't
not
seen
for 7
a 9/11
years.
movie recently. Like, I guess there was like one, right?
Yeah, what was our Godzilla?
9/11?
What was our Godzilla after 9/11? What movie franchise began to celebrate 9/11?
Man of Steel, probably.
The movie with Whoopi Goldberg and Charlie Sheen about the World Trade Center.
Yeah, 9/11.
I think it's called 9/11.
Yeah, but I mean, if the atomic bomb inspired Godzilla and that's a 35 movie franchise, do we have anything similar for 9/11 that was inspired?
Dark Knight.
No, you don't.
Batman was around way before, though. Like, Godzilla's a direct
Yeah.
parallel for the bomb.
I mean,
I don't know if
think
we've come up with anything new since 9/11, like, as far as like
Stagnant
franchises
culture.
go. Yeah.
Look, the point is that you're not still that butthurt about it, okay? You didn't milk it for 70 years, all right? You didn't make like a huge movie franchise out of 9/11 because any other nation would have fucking gotten over it by now, okay?
True.
And this is the one where they return
Florian, how can you possibly say that any other nation would have gotten over having nuclear weapons used against it when that's the only nation to have it done to them?
Yeah.
Look, it's made a big deal. It's a big deal for nothing, okay?
Yeah.
More Germans died in the war than Japanese, okay?
Won't somebody think of the Germans?
The atomic bombs were nothing. Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah, I mean, they
just
certainly
killed
didn't
tons
kill...
and tons of people. Innocent people died. Oh, but it's nothing, even though like entire
are you
cities
talking
were like razed.
I definitely understand that, like the fire bombing of Dresden and the bombing of Berlin and stuff like that is pretty bad.
Imagine
Like-
how cocked it would be if we still worship the Dresden bomber as a big boogeyman. Imagine that. Like, oh yeah, we go back in time and we fight the people that were bombing Dresden for all eternity. For 70 years, we're still butthurt about it, okay? We still imagine that they're gods.
Florian,
that destroy us
how long
every day.
how long has film and just culture in general milked Hitler for the last like what?
Yeah, but
70 years?
that's
So true.
That's exactly my next point. Okay, where the fuck
no.
is the Japanese der Untergang? Where is an examination of the crimes?
Hitler
that they did,
is your
okay?
Godzilla. Hitler is your Godzilla.
Look, if you look at our movies about World War II, you're not gonna get the idea that we're just innocent victims that got nuked, okay? But if you watch Godzilla, that's the impression you're gonna get, that the Japanese, they did nothing wrong, and then oops, nuclear explosions out of nowhere.
Yeah, Florian is 100% right. The Japanese are approaching this from a state of victimhood, 100% completely. And I don't think I've seen a single German film about World War II where they painted themselves as the victim.
Well, I don't think that Godzilla Minus One painted the government as the victim. In that case,
It
I
paints the
think it's
Japanese
actually
government pretty poorly.
Yeah, it makes it like the Japanese government had no regard for life, even of its own, especially of its own citizens. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's actually pretty critical of the imperial Japanese government.
Well,
Look, there's tons of Japanese war crimes that have been committed. The comfort women that they used in China, the like incredible, terrible
Unit
things they've done
731.
in Korea.
Wait, let's go back to these comfort women, E-Rich. Do tell.
Yeah, they would essentially go into villages and round up all the women and then just start raping them constantly.
Can you verify none of them consented? No.
Wow.
If you want a good like Japanese movie series about Japan and World War II.
Oh, Godzilla.
And that no, it's called It's called The Human Condition, and it was incredibly critical of the Japanese government, and they made this series in the 50s, and I think it almost didn't get made, and I think the director got blacklisted for a bit afterwards because of how the movies really attacked the Imperial Japanese government.
Mm-hmm. Wow,
same director.
Same director. Until recently, Shinzo Abe was the kind of inheritor of the system that kind of completely denied the crimes that the Japanese committed.
There's a lot of denial, and they don't really want to talk about the degree of horrible stuff they kind of did, and then across the whole country.
It's crazy.
If you talk about
they're not living up to it.
Yeah, if you talk about Union 731, you'll inevitably get Japanese nationalists saying denying all the human experimentation that went on in Manchuria and whatnot.
I mean, it's crazy that that movie that you mentioned had trouble being made just because it was critical of the government from 70 years ago, or maybe I don't know when it was made. But
no, but the movies came out in the mid 50s, so 10 years after the war.
Well, I guess that's still fairly recent, but we were pretty much instantly very critical of what we did, so at least there's that, I really the fact that they went back and their number one complaint about the government is that they treated their own soldiers badly. Bitch, your soldiers were doing the worst shit out there. They were literally allied with the worst humans in all of history, the Nazis, and you're like, oh, we should have just not killed our own soldiers as much. Then we would have been fine.
I would suggest you read more history. I'm not going to defend the Nazis, but there have been incredibly brutal and barbaric empires in the past that have done far worse.
Well, yeah, I mean Japan was coming off of being basically denied any kind of space in the world powers. They had all this build up. They had all this incredible expansion that they were basically just treated like shit by the rest of the world powers because they were Asian.
And Florian, if you recall from your favorite Taika Waititi film, Jojo Rabbit, even some of those poor Nazis out there, they're brainwashed as children, Florian. They're not just evil scum who want to kill Jews. They're just people.
Well, I'm talking about on a national stage, the fact that you're allied with the Nazis and you still were until the very end. Holy shit, that was so bad. They really got to work up to this, but okay.
The war hadn't been won, so they didn't know which side history would paint as the good guys. They took a bad gamble.
They sure did, but I mean...
That's just how it works.
Among us.
I mean, they did enough bad stuff on their own, but...
Well, they definitely weren't... They definitely weren't going to ally with the Soviet Union because, they had recently had they won the war against the Soviet Union in 1905, and there was tensions still between them and the Soviet Union over, land disputes, especially over some islands, which I think some of those islands are still disputed.
Well, and they probably hate China too. But let's listen. Let's hear what
they definitely
has to,
yeah.
Let's see what he has to say about this movie because he's the big expert.
Oh. I don't know. I mean, they don't mention Hiroshima or Nagasaki once in the movie. The whole movie is just about this one guy and his story going through the they're not going to talk about the Nazis and all of the complex dealings there and the historical.
Well, it's actually crazy that you have a personalized nuclear bomb in Godzilla, and you don't talk about any of the actual nuclear bombs, and it's set in World War II. That blows my mind.
Florian, do you know what an analogy is?
Mr. Enter, Has Mysterious Mr. Enter entered the chat? Turning Red needed to talk about 9/11.
What are you?
Because
this is specifically going back to the origins of this very character that this franchise is based on, the nuclear bomb.
Well, but they use it as an analogy. They don't need to talk about Hiroshima.
Florian, it's literally analogous.
But there is a scene where he gets blown up, and what is that? Why didn't you explain how that happened?
I mean, the guy basically lives through in the big Tokyo attack scene. That's basically a third nuclear bomb being dropped on Japan. It happens in the movie. They don't really need to go into Hiroshima or anything. I don't think.
Yeah, they don't need to go through it. I mean, they touch on the fire bombings of Tokyo. Because when he comes back home, he finds out that his whole family's dead. at the beginning.
All their paper houses burned down.
Yeah, that's weird that they omit the actual nuclear blasts that are
because it didn't affect the main character. The main character's not going to be like, oh yeah,
No.
well no.
It also didn't affect Godzilla. Yeah.
Yeah, it did. It specifically made him magical.
No, it was the Castle Bravo thing or whatever. Yeah.
The Bikini Atoll. Yeah, it awakened him, right? It's kind of like
okay.
That turned him into the monster because at the start of the movie he's only like maybe 20 feet tall, 30 feet tall or so, and then he gets irradiated.
Yeah, and it sends him to Tokyo, and it's more about like this anxiety from continued nuclear bomb testing, hydrogen bomb testing, that, you know, this anxiety in Japan of like another one of these bombs, you know, being dropped on Japan. And so it's like the US is testing these bombs, and now it's like these even bigger bombs, you know, than had previously existed, and is this going to happen to Japan again? So yeah, so Godzilla's analogous to another bomb. You don't have to talk about Nagasaki or Hiroshima.
Well, I guess so. I just think that like if they're still about this, I don't know. I feel like, well, I just thought
Florian wants to spend the time during the giant lizard talking about annihilation and destruction. He doesn't want to see the giant lizard destroy shit. He wants to see...
I mean, like there's plenty of non-action scenes in this movie, like, and like specifically.
Because like the best Godzilla movies
of Godzilla.
No, the best Godzilla movies are inherently not really about Godzilla. It's, you know, they're about the human drama on the ground.
Specifically, the origin story of Godzilla. So I think if the whole origin...
No, it's not, Florian, because he exists at the beginning of the movie. He is not created in any way. Like, they talk about him as if he's like a myth that already is pre-existing.
Well, that's still an origin story.
No, I think like a lot of these Godzilla movies take place in their own timeline. I don't think this was a prequel to the original movie.
No.
He looks a little bit different, has slightly different powers in that movie. I don't think he gets all electric and shit.
Yeah, a lot of these Godzilla movies don't really have any continuity until you get to like the kind of goofier ones where it's like, you know, Godzilla's fighting against other, you know, kind of legendary creatures, and it becomes, you know,
like
movies
James
where
Bond, you know, Godzilla versus James Bond.
Yeah, when
they were gonna do a Batman versus Godzilla versus at some point.
Who was gonna be Batman?
It was gonna be like the Adam West Batman. Pretty sure.
Okay, I'm down to watch that. Let's bring him back from the grave.
Yeah, with AI.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, he has that bomb scene, but it's a nuclear
So, Florian,
bomb.
do you have any problems with this movie that is not just like the idea of the movie? What are your problems with the actual movie?
Like that. I mean, that is just like a complaint about the whole franchise, but I think the movie is just like generally like a 5 out of 10. I mean, I didn't see it as that good. I like the characters. I like the story of this orphan child, but like when the cities were being destroyed, I didn't really feel anything too interesting about that, and it didn't look that good. Godzilla looks so fucking stupid with its tiny arms and huge head.
Well, Florian, what do you think
It's almost like he looks like a dinosaur.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on cute Asian women, Florian? Because that scene when the cute Asian woman's hanging out of half of a subway car, that's some thrilling drama. I don't want that cute Asian to get hurt.
Yeah, I mean, that was fine, yeah.
Yeah, that's like half the sequence.
Yeah, it was nice of them to focus on that, but... I mean, I don't know. Like the whole way they just react to Godzilla being around, and then everyone has to restate everything 100 times because we're in an anime now. So
what? What was restated too many times?
Well, like, oh, is he gonna kill it? Oh, are you sure it's gonna kill it? Oh, I said it's gonna kill it. Are you sure this is gonna kill the Godzilla?
Do you think that's anime writing? It's just people being careful?
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of.
They gotta like convince
okay?
these people and stuff to go like risk their lives again.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, because
the
it's like
way they're explaining.
They were still like, I mean, these characters are still war weary and they're like ready to just settle down with their lives, and now it's like they have another war that they have to fight, you know? And so it's like they don't want to do it unless they're sure that it's not just gonna get them all killed.
I get that. I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of scenes where it feels like it wasn't.
You didn't feel like a sense of like you weren't like screaming like hell yeah when all the tugboats came up. You know, it was like Gandalf. It was like Gandalf showing up at Gandalf.
Oh, it was Rise of Skywalker.
No,
it was like Dunkirk. Yeah. They just teleport out of nowhere. They didn't even show them pulling up.
I think the real heroes of the movie. Oh, go ahead, Purple.
Yeah, they have a lot of these scenes that are also in like a lot of big blockbusters and stuff, but they just the execution is so much better. I don't know. It just
they do the Spielberg timing too.
Yeah.
So I noticed that the movie does like the Spielberg timing of things, something that he uses in a lot of his movies, where it's like the scene, like the actual scene might only last for like 2 seconds, but they draw it out for dramatic effect, and they did that with that final kamikaze sequence. And I was like, oh, okay, they're taking, you know, there's a lot of hints from a lot of inspiration, it seems, from Spielberg, and the movie to me felt like what an American blockbuster like in the 90s would be like a good American blockbuster. To me, this felt like a really, really good blockbuster film.
Yeah.
You know, where it's got all the big set pieces, it's got the human drama, it's got, you know, very like characters you can really root for, and you get really invested into their story. It's not, it kind of plays around with ideas of like of loss and of grief and of and I think what Godzilla Minus One really is about is about the changing attitudes of Japan post World War II, of kind of shedding their paradigm that they had under like Hirohito and Imperial Japan. And
then they still kept him for 30 years though. You know, the Empire, they didn't get rid of him. Imagine if we had kept like the Nazis, you know, after World War II. But anyway,
imagine if they didn't move to America to work on NASA.
I think there's a lot of them in Ukraine now.
No, only the Russians. Anyways, like, people are gonna think I hate this movie. I think this is like a solid 5 out of 10. I mean, I wasn't wowed, and I don't get how everyone's gushing over it. But you know, I don't hate the movie. I do think that the concept of Godzilla is very strange. You know, like Japan just doesn't understand why it had to be nuked. You know, like, you did some fucked up shit, and those are the consequences, you know?
Yeah, but that's the lesson of the movie, is that they need to find a way to beat Godzilla without any human sacrifices. We need to value human life for the first time in Japanese history. That's why the kamikaze pilot, who should have died as a human missile, instead gets a plane with a fucking ejector seat. And the guy who made him feel ashamed and beat the shit out of him installed the seat for him. Like, that's a huge step forward in a beautiful character moment, Florian.
Yeah. It's actually kind of interesting when you compare it to the first movie, because that ends with like a big self-sacrifice scene from the doctor who creates the weapon to kill Godzilla.
Wow, they actually learned, huh?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Wow, so this is even an evolution in Godzilla movies. Like, they had to learn this lesson.
Mm-hmm. Just even in like the last American Godzilla movie from like 2019, they had a guy like nuking himself and stuff to wake up Godzilla. Like, there's, I don't know.
Well, when America comes back, it comes back around to being heroic, you see?
Now, I'm getting tired of all this self-sacrifice cuck shit, you know? Like, if I can't save you without saving myself, then maybe you're better off dead.
Yeah.
Sure, sounds good.
So I just take it from our entire conversation so far that, Florian, your biggest issue with the Godzilla Minus One is just with the whole concept of Godzilla itself.
I mean, I guess that's like I don't get why this is like the main export out of Japan when it comes to movies. Okay, like I feel like they could do better, but okay. I mean,
And they got Ghibli and One Piece.
yeah, I mean those are good.
Yeah.
And
They have
They've got like
they have
most video games from the last 30 years.
I said
Kurosawa
movies.
and Ozu.
Oh.
Kurosawa movies.
Name one good
Ozu.
Akira Kurosawa movie.
Yojimbo.
High and low.
Seven Samurai, Throne of Blood.
Hidden
Throne of
Fortress.
Blood. Ran. I mean, like just about
Yeah,
like
Ran's my
any
favorite.
Kurosawa movie. Just about any Kurosawa movie. They put out. Japan has a great film industry. You know, they make a lot of really good movies.
I just watched a movie
They're-
called Cure last night. It was really good.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I mean,
What about the Noroi?
Was that
What?
the ring? Japanese ring? Is
Yeah.
that what that is?
I think it's called The Curse.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Ooh,
they make a
Oh,
lot
is
of
that
good
the one
horror
you
movies.
I
So
guess
what Florian is trying to say is that after 70 years of Godzilla films, this is the best they can do, and it's completely mediocre. It's time to stop it right now. Let's make a new type of movie.
Yeah,
no, they're not
it's
gonna
time-
stop. You know, I'm an old man yelling at the clouds at this point.
Maybe
Definitely not
maybe
going to stop here.
maybe
Yeah, I know.
you're more of an Ultraman guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw an Ultraman thing. No, wait, something about like a kid with rocket boots. What was that?
Oh, that was
Boy?
Ultra Lord.
Astro Boy.
Astro Boy.
Star-Lord?
Okay, that's completely different, but that's what I saw. Yeah.
Didn't Hideaki Anno make like Shin Ultraman or something?
I don't know if he directed
yes.
that one, but he was
I don't-
involved, yeah.
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 Well, I guess there are a few things how they do.
That one I think is less serious than Shin Godzilla was, so.
hmm
I mean, I don't know if you
Yeah,
can do a
yeah.
serious Ultraman.
That and Shin Kamen
No,
Rider,
I don't think
were
you
a
can.
little bit
Yeah.
more fun.
Kino, people are trying to praise this movie, saying it only cost $15 million, but then I've also seen reports that that's bullshit. Is there any truth?
The director said he wishes it was 15 million.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
like it's
probably
lower.
much less.
Wait, it was even
Yeah,
lower?
Jesus.
So supposedly the budget was lower than 15.
What?
Hell yeah. Hell
It
yeah,
should
everyone
be
got
said.
underpaid. That's what we want to see.
Yeah, what the hell?
Japanese VFX industry is terrible to its workers.
Yeah, they
so,
work them to the bone.
yeah.
Yeah, but we do that
Yeah.
here, and the movies look like dog
Yeah,
shit.
they're better paid is the thing.
Oh yeah, they're way better
Yeah.
paid. Can you imagine if everyone got paid like out of 50 million? Like you'd get so little per worker. Jesus.
Wait, so here we pay them way more to balloon the budget up by 100 times, and then it looks worse, and the movies are shit?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are other issues that exist in like the American film industry and the VFX for the American film industry, especially with Marvel, because they pay them more, but they have like incredibly tight deadlines for
No,
their
And not
for their
only
work.
that, but like they're constantly revising the movie as they're
Yeah.
making it. So
Yeah.
like basically the final version of what they're making might not even be down to the people who are making the movie, the VFX people,
Yeah.
until the last like
Yeah.
3 or 4 weeks of production.
Yeah, I'll just look at like the whole production fiasco that was across the Spider-Verse, and they're having the animators and whatnot make entire like completed sequences, and then they're like, oh yeah, we just cut that out of the script and we just rewrote this whole thing, and it's got to be completely different now.
Yeah, multiple cuts in the theater as it's coming out too. Just
Yeah, it was like in the second week they sent out like a different cut to theaters. It's but what happens like with Marvel is that like the executives want to be able to change like anything about the movie at any point in post-production. So there's always tweaks, there's always stuff getting changed around. And they all have very, very tight deadlines. And and they work incredible like crunch hours. It's like we pay them better, but it's still not, we still don't have very good practices.
So maybe the Japanese way is better.
yeah, I mean,
I'd say probably the best way is James Cameron's way, You know, he's just like, make it good. If it takes time,
Have
it takes
a fully
time.
formed idea of the thing you're trying to do, relay that to artists, keep the artists in the loop with what you're doing, and have them as like co-conspirators or like co-workers of you while you're making it, and then let them cook. Let them do their job.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's why Avatar 2 still looks the best.
Yeah. With this movie, they had it all written for like a good. I know it was being written during COVID and everything, so they weren't like prevising the fight scenes or whatever. Before the movie was written, like with some of the Marvel stuff, which I think is the big reason it ends up being crap, is because they've got the whole process just flipped on its head for no reason.
So Florian, you hear this, and we're saying that these are movies, these slapdash Marvel movies are enslaving people and being thrown together. There's no creative vision anywhere. It's just whoever is in charge of the movie that day can change it. As opposed to this film that spent 4 years on the fucking script, and every little bit of money you could see on screen. And you really think that the Marvel films are the superior ones in this discussion?
Well, it may have been cost efficient, but I mean, is that really like the big market that we're going for? Like, do you really feel like this was like a joy to watch, like from beginning
Cost
to end?
and creativity.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I would rather have
creativity?
more
It's just some
Godzillas.
Godzilla stuff.
But
I would rather
if
have
the
more
Marvels
Godzilla
cost,
minus ones.
yeah, Florian, if the Marvels cost $250 million, you could take that money and make potentially 10 or 15 movies like this Godzilla movie. We could just have more good movies in the world.
I mean, people want to see the Marvel movies. I don't know. Do they?
I think that this Godzilla movie might be doing better in America than the Marvels did.
Well, this one went and did all right, okay, but like on average, I don't know if this
I think
is
you're
where
just-
the money's going to be at.
You're not an old man yelling at cloud. You're an old man who forgot to get off the bus. Like, you fell asleep. We've all gotten off of the comic book
fuck.
movie bus, and
No
we've
way.
moved on. Like,
Yeah, you
Barbie,
moved on.
Oppenheimer, those are the
No
big
reason.
movies this year. We're over these fucking cape shit movies.
Yeah, well, too bad. I still like him.
You're asleep on the bus! Who gives a fuck?
Yeah,
People are still seeing them, dude.
No, they're not! Disney has lost money on every fucking movie this year!
Florian, the Marvels was the least attended Marvel movie ever.
Yeah, well,
Nobody's
too
seen
bad.
it.
It's like
It was
Hulk or
pretty good.
something.
Wake up, old man! We're on the
Even-
Kino bus!
Wow.
even Taika Waititi is like shit talking cape shit now.
They
well,
all
he made the
are!
worst one of them all, so too bad.
I mean, but even for him to come out and be like, I did the movie for the money. I didn't give a fuck about Thor. I thought Thor was stupid.
Yeah,
but
that's pretty obvious from the movie.
I mean, I gotta give him mad props for that. You know, I thought that Thor Ragnarok was one of the better of the MCU
It
movies.
is one of the best ones.
Yeah, Ragnarok is the good one, but Love and Thunder is an atrocity, you know? Like,
Yeah, but Taika
I mean,
admitted
I never
he didn't
saw-
give a fuck about it when he was making the good one.
Yeah, honestly, that was kind of a Chad move on his part. Yeah, he's like,
about.
he said that about Thor Ragnarok and for Love and Thunder. Like, he didn't give a shit about Thor. Like, he needed the money, and I'm like, that's, honestly, props
I mean, he
for admitting
definitely
that.
put in the good work into Ragnarok. Like, the characters make sense in that one, and then in the new one, he just did whatever, you know?
I think they might have been more restrained on some of his bad tendencies in Ragnarok, and then they might have loosened up on that more for Love and Thunder, and then you get some of the really bad kind of writing and jokes.
It's like he
in there.
didn't even have a script. Like, the whole movie might have been improv, you know?
That's how most of these
think
Marvel
about-
movies seem to be made, Florian.
Think about how much money could be saved on these movies if they went into these movies with an actual vision. Like, how much of these VFX budgets are just because they're having VFX workers do, like, not just VFX workers, but the production crews as well, do a whole bunch of work that doesn't make it onto the screen.
I mean, you'd think if you hire someone like Taika Waititi, you'd think that he would do that. He would put that creativity in, but he let them down, you know?
Well,
Like,
I mean, it's
what
really
are-
Kevin
what are they gonna do?
Feige who's, like, making all these movies
Kevin
anyways.
Feige is the actual creative.
Well, he
visionary.
obviously had way too much
Yeah.
creative input on that one. I mean, Taika Waititi did. Like Kevin Feige should have reined him back. That would have saved it.
Should we have Florian review next goal wins for next week?
I have
The
never
new
heard of
Taika
what that
Waititi
is.
soccer movie.
It should just be Florian on that one because I'm not really interested in watching that.
I'm not gonna watch that.
It's like
Nobody on
it's
Earth
like
wanted to see that movie.
it's so funny that like
out somewhere.
Fassbender starred in The Killer and Next Goal Wins, and they came out at the same time. And
Florian's top
nobody
2
talked
movies of the
about-
year.
Yeah,
It came out already. Wow. I gotta look this up.
I haven't even heard of this.
It played at my theater, and I don't think that it's playing anymore. Like I think it had its run.
It was like 1 week.
I think there's no way to watch it now. In fact, so that's
It was like 1 week here because like no one went to see it, and this is a time of year when it's like tons of movies are just coming out. So if it's not making money, it gets kicked out.
Yeah, they could have dropped that in January.
I mean, it's pretty cursed. Like, if you're not getting the attention right away, then you're not getting less viewing. So it's like
my thinking with Next Goal Wins was like that was Taika Waititi's sort of shot to get back in good with Disney. You know, like after the. After the disaster that was Thor: Love and Thunder. I mean, I never saw it, but it didn't do very well at the box office. It was getting kind of memed on, you know, with the bad CGI and like the stupid writing and everything. You know, it didn't get the same critical response. It got a much lower critical response than the other Marvel films. But like with this movie, I think that he was trying to prove, I can actually still make really good movies, and I need to get, you know, and I deserve to get like another like big budget movie.
A movie you haven't seen here.
and then Next Goal Wins didn't do well critically or commercially, and it was after that he was just like, yeah, fuck Marvel, I did it for the money. I'm like, oh, okay. Okay, you're not going back to Disney, are you?
Well, I'm so happy that he's working on the Star Wars movie currently. That just makes me...
Oh, great.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Well, what?
He's working on the Star Wars movie?
Make it better.
Yeah.
Do people still have hope for Star Wars to like get better?
No.
They shouldn't.
Florian probably does.
No.
People who have had hopes for Star Wars to get better since Return of the Jedi are... I don't know what to tell them.
You're wrong.
Pretty steady decline for like 40 years.
Endo was peak actually, so that's the new high. Okay.
I'm not watching a TV show. I'm not watching it.
I got
the only TV show I'm going to watch is She-Hulk.
Andor is literally
Velma.
Velma season 2.
Well, those
Mr.
Bertram.
All right,
Mr. Bertram.
Let's do some wrap up. I want everybody to give me your final verdict on Godzilla and give me your plugs. You know, what should people go check out for you? Let's start with you, E-Rich.
Let's start.
Yeah, so I really liked this movie overall. I think it's getting a bit overpraised because I see people saying it's the best movie of the year. Like, there hasn't been anything better than this in theaters, and I think that's not true. But
that's insane.
It's way better than what Florian is saying. So, yeah, like I think it's a pretty good time in the theater. It's like it's pulling from a lot of American Hollywood movies to me. Like the middle section of the movie is basically Jaws. They're like on the back of a boat and Godzilla's chasing them. And then
it is like it's so much like Jaws.
Yeah, the director said Jaws was a big influence. So
yeah. So to me, this is the Japanese film industry kind of catching up with what the American version of a Hollywood movie would be like for Godzilla. That's not the Roland Emmerich version of Godzilla from 1998. If we're doing a Godzilla Minus One, I hope that's the one that I get to delete from my memory. I'm happy that we can get something like Minus One after something like Shin Godzilla. I think both of them are super cool takes on the character. And then we've got Godzilla X Kong coming in the next 4 or 5 months or something.
That looks so bad.
I don't know.
Look, I'm down to have fun. I'm down to have fun with some goofy fucking Godzilla shit. I mean, that's the amazing variety.
Well, if it's anything like Godzilla versus Kong, it's going to be a whole bunch of shit I don't care about, and then like a 10-minute fight at the very end.
That movie was great.
They said they're boosting the monster scenes even more, so hopefully it'll just be like I can't wait until they make one that's just all Godzilla and like no human characters.
No humans at all. That'd be nice. I always wanted them to do that with the Transformers movies because the Transformers are actual characters that can emote to
Oh
each
yeah,
other.
yeah. They should have done that.
Well, there's like a terrible series that does that.
Well, so Purple Colonel, what are your final thoughts?
Oh, I think this is like probably the best movie I've seen in theaters. I didn't watch a ton, but this is easily
Period.
The Colonel is
one
the
of the
person
best.
I hate.
Oh,
Well, he gets his movie opinions from this podcast. He doesn't need to go see the
I
films.
see. I see. Mm-hmm.
yeah. Honestly, yeah. But yeah, I thought this was probably one of the best Godzilla movies, if not the best at this point. And yeah. it was
Well,
really
Florian
good.
agrees with you on that. He just says it's also mediocre.
Well,
as the best
out of the
one.
Japanese ones, I obviously like the Western Godzilla movies, you know?
Obviously.
Now that is a take. Now that is a take.
I do another podcast with Florian, and I'm used to this sort of thing.
Yeah, honest opinions that other people would be afraid to share. That's what you get.
Afraid out of shame.
Oh yeah, liking cape shit is an honest opinion that everyone is afraid to share.
Yep, that's true. People are afraid.
You should be afraid.
They're afraid to say they like the Marvels.
Yeah. It deserves better, okay?
I hope you're shaking in your boots saying that.
Yeah,
Florian.
I'm saying that I liked Godzilla more than Marvels because I'm afraid of what people will think of me. You caught me.
Yep, that's how it is.
Purple, what do you want to plug? What will people find on your YouTube channel?
I mostly do videos about Half-Life, the 20-year-old first-person shooter. It's I don't know. That's pretty much all I make. You can find me on Purple Colonel on YouTube, and yeah.
What's this podcast with Florian? Where should I find that?
Oh, that's also on there. It's Gamer Lame, and we talk about a game and then decide if it's game or lame at the end of the podcast.
Would you say
I
Ballfrog
thought you
is
said
game or lame?
Gamer lame.
I don't know. I'd call
Not a lame
Ballfrog.
gamer.
It's game. It's game enough.
It's kind of lame.
Yeah, you were
well,
so into Ballfrog, we started a podcast. Come on.
yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
Well, what about you, Florian? While we're on you have any game or lame podcasts to plug?
Well, I'm still waiting for Purple to play Industria so we can review that. But check out my main channel, Himsel Games, where you can see game development content, you know?
What about anti-reviews? Would I be better off going to the Kino Corner channel for like a movie review, or is your channel better?
Well, mine is definitely better because mine is all about, like, not reviewers, okay? Reviewers are getting it all wrong, and I'm the only one who's got the right opinions, and that's why anti-reviews is the only thing that everyone should watch, okay?
Okay. Are you going to review any more Mauler videos soon?
Oh no, that took forever.
Yeah, those
no.
are real Kino.
Yeah, that's a good video.
Yeah, those are real Kino.
You know,
You
that's the
watched
best
that?
movie I've seen all year, actually.
Is Florian's review of Mauler?
Yeah.
12 hours?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
probably same here.
Uh-huh.
Probably same here. I just had I was walking around, going on a long walk, listening to Florian just spurg out at Mahler for 12 hours. It was
Yep. Everyone here watched it. Everyone else should watch it too, okay?
Yeah, go catch up. Kino, is it true that your channel's not as good as anti-reviews?
that's very true.
What are your final thoughts on this
not
movie?
even so it's I wouldn't say it's my favorite movie that I've seen this year. I think it's a solid like 8 out of 10. As far as like big movies are concerned, it's one of the better, if not one of the best, like big movies that I've seen in the theaters this year. But I have seen a lot of films this year, but I think that people who are like, this is the best movie of the year, I think it's just because people don't go to the movies as often as we do. And so I'm not gonna
Purple.
get mad at them or anything, for that. But I'm glad that I'm really glad that a Japanese movie, a subtitled Japanese movie, is doing really well in the cinemas, in American cinemas. So I really liked it. It, like as Erich said, it's basically like the Japanese Godzilla version of Jaws, which I thought was super cool. And I had a lot of fun. with it. I think it's really good. and can't wait to see what this director does next. And as far as plugging, just check out my channel.
Oh, you should be delighted to hear that they have a German dub here and no original version, and there's hardly any viewings of it.
Wow,
That's weird.
you can't watch it in Japanese.
You think that's a dunk, but that just makes Austria just kind of look bad. Like,
True.
There's just no market for it here, apparently. I mean, we dub everything. We watch Hollywood movies in German, so like it would be no different. But then people still don't think it's that great here, So
Maybe there's something about
cool.
the Austrian sensibilities that does not mesh with Godzilla. Maybe that's what we learned today.
yeah, maybe we evolved, and they're still there in World War II, like fighting the bombs,
Yeah, their war just now ended. That's the whole point. They're finally over it.
The war is
with this
over.
movie.
Yeah, finally.
Time to move on to World War III. Let's go.
Yep.
Yeah, just in time for World War III.
Okay, so my final opinion is that Godzilla doesn't look good, and they didn't use the original
Shut up.
amazing scream. Okay, they
Godzilla didn't look good. Fuck you.
They did use the original Scream. They had it mixed in there with like a new sort of one, but it's like straight up the one from the 50s movie.
They didn't do the meme one. Okay, they didn't do the one where he's like, ah!
Well, yeah, they did do the high
God,
pitched one, but that's not the original.
No, that's the original.
God forbid.
No, it's not.
God forbid they're like, oh, you know what would make this movie better is if we put a meme sound effect in it.
Look, he's supposed to squeak occasionally. I can't believe they would bring back Godzilla. And
Florian's pissed the Wilhelm scream wasn't in the movie.
Florian wants the Screon.
In the first movie, they have a very similar scream to that high-pitched one, but it's like lower pitch and stuff. I don't know where the high-pitched one came from, if they made that for the second one. But
I mean, I looked up
not
the
in there.
original Godzilla scream, and it was that one. I don't know.
Well, they have like bits of it in there. I don't know.
They even like sampled
never
some of the
high-pitched.
original theme song from the original Godzilla in this.
Yeah, they used a lot of the old score from some of the first few.
I just can't
Yeah.
get over the tiny hands and the huge head. But it's not
Oh my God.
It's not a T-Rex head.
Bye,
it's just-
everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Is It Kino?
See ya.
I'm glad that this is the last thing I said. Okay.